Zen Ray here. Welcome, Nick Nation, my band of brothers. Welcome. The beautiful skyline of New York City. The last couple of days been very warm and humid out here in NYC. We'll be on with Juby the Tubi in a few. We're just talking about all this scandalous stuff. The Knicks are being accused of tampering. Give me a break. We'll talk to Juby the Tubi family above everything in a few. These cases, we're going to put on Mark Cuban and a little highlight reel from Jalen Brunson doing some pickup games as well. So we'll be back with Juby the Tubi family above everything. I want to welcome all you New Yorkers and people around the world. So stand by. We'll be back in a few.
Gotta get underground, gotta put in that work, so you can make it count. It'll create itself, gotta get underground, gotta put in that work, so you can make it count. It don't create itself, I'm sure you know. Many ideas and your body just blow. If you don't put it work, you never know. If you don't take a step, you never grow. You just keep dreaming about how to go, but you never put a foot on the road. Gotta be ready, you gotta be bold. Pick up a shovel and dig up a hole. You gotta pop, you gonna divide.
Yes, Jalen Brunson, Zen Ray here, and we'll be back with Juby the Tubi. And I'm going to bring him here because I want to talk about all this scandalous stuff. The Knicks being charged or may be charged under investigation for tampering for the Jalen Brunson signing. Give me your opinion, Nick Nation. Back in the past, when LeBron James went to the Heat, when he went to the Lakers, when he brought on his buddies, Kyrie Irving, there was a whole bunch of tampering there. Wouldn't you think? The Knicks, they don't pick up an all-star, superstar, but they're being investigated for this tampering nonsense. Well, so let me put on Juby to get his opinion. Juby, the Tubi family above everything. This scandalous in New York City. Jalen Brunson, we're being accused, an investigation by the NBA, being accused of tampering. Welcome, B.
Nick Nation, mi familia, family above everything. Thank you for having me on Zenray Sports TV. Before we get to that, me and Zenray want to Nick Nation want to send out a special happy birthday to the legend,
yes,
the beast of the East, Mr. Patrick Ewing. Salute to him. You never know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah, here we go. Patrick Ewing. Happy 60th birthday,
it's
my
your
friend.
Birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Patrick Ewing.
It's your birthday.
Yes.
You never know what you have
Happy
until it's gone, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a great day.
Happy birthday, Patrick.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
To you.
60 years young.
It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Man, watching these
It's your
highlights, man. Just these days, unbelievable, man.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
Great lob by Tucker. And the game is
It's a
tied.
great day.
I remember the game.
That's what we say. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Patrick.
To
Ewing jammed it over Jones and a timeout.
Happy birthday, my friend.
Happy birthday, Big Pat. And just that picture that you had, Zenray, when I remember that moment, just watching that on TV, and you actually felt like Patrick Ewing was hugging all New York City and putting them on his back. And what a great player, player in my era. Happy birthday, Pat.
Yes. Nick Nation.
But thanks for having me.
Yes, Nick Nation. It's like Juby said, when a player like that is gone, it's like the old Mariano Rivera when we lost him in the bullpen. Look, Patrick Ewing is one of a kind. I know a lot of Knicks Nation or a lot of haters that say picked on Patrick because he didn't win the championship game. But listen, we have a lot of good memories of Patrick Ewing. Knicks Nation, give me your opinion about Patrick Ewing, the legend. Happy birthday to Patrick Ewing. So, Juby, let's get back to these allegations or investigation by the NBA. Jalen Brunson tampering case. Is this ridiculous? This is as ridiculous as wanting RJ Barrett at 8 picks on our last week's show. Very ridiculous.
I think the minions are still having a good time and still cracking up all this nonsense. But listen, 100% is nonsense. It's the same old song and dance. The hate that the people have for the Knicks. If you're not from New York and you're not a Knicks fan, all the sportscasters and all the media outside of New York City is just ridiculous. And now I'm hearing that they're trying to obtain first-round picks. So not just a second-round pick like the Chicago Bulls got handed and Miami Heat last season. Now it's a first-round pick. Why? Because it's New York City, the New York Knicks. Did we get a LeBron James? Did we get a Dwayne Wade? You guys made fun of us for signing Jalen Brunson, saying that we overpaid for him and that he's not a star. So let us be. Jalen Brunson didn't come over here because of tampering. Jalen Brunson came over here because it's the best place for him to be, and it's all about family. And you know I'm really big on that, and it's always family above everything, Zenry.
I agree, and I want to say hi to Kevin Aaron. Thank you for coming on, Kevin Aaron. Blessings to you and your family. I'm going to put a quick video on of an interview that Mark Cuban had when they asked him this question about the tampering, and then we're going to go on to Jalen Jacoby. They're going to give their opinion as well. Hello, Big Taz, Patrick Ewing. Happy birthday, 60th birthday to Patrick Ewing. Wow, do we miss a guy like Patrick Ewing on this team? Thank you, Big Taz, for coming on. Appreciate you, brother. Big Taz, Zenray, the Knicks hate is so real. It sure is, Big Taz. They're attacking us from all angles. First, they criticized us and put hate on us, saying that we overpaid for Brunson, and now they're doing an investigation. We'll see what happens, Big Taz. I appreciate you being here. Shay, good evening. Good evening to you as well. I appreciate you being here on, Shay. Let me put this interview, and we'll get back with Big Task and Shay and Kevin Aaron, a few. So let's watch this interview of Mark Cuban.
Free agency stuff is the buildup, and normally we got to wait till 6 o'clock Eastern time the day before to know where guys are going. And you mentioned the loss of Jalen Brunson. It seemed like we knew about that like 2 weeks earlier, right? Back page is saying it. They're giving us the exact price that he's going to New York for. Earlier in the postseason, I think it was like Worldwide West, a couple of executives sitting down at Mavericks games. Do you feel that the Knicks did anything inappropriate in that scenario?
No, they were perfect.
Yeah.
I saw nothing wrong at all. That's
He's
just
so
the business.
sarcastic.
That's just the way it works. And, that's not my job to determine. That's up to the NBA. It is what it is. It's done. I wish Jalen the best. He's a great guy. I mean, it'd be one thing if I didn't like him, and I thought it was just a jerk, but he's really, really a good guy with a heart of gold. So I wish him nothing but the best. And like I said, I mean, we changed, our team changed, and we got a lot bigger. We're going to be able to score. We lost Jalen at 17 a game, but we pick up Timmy at 17, 18 a game, and Christian at 17, 18, 19 a game. So we're going to be fine.
Can't wait to talk to him. We'll talk to him about the Knicks, and the Knicks are in the news. Why? Tampering investigation. So we all know that Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson's dad, works for the team. We all know that Leon Rose used to represent not just Rick Brunson, but also Jalen Brunson himself. And they're being investigated because this 4-year, $104 million deal came together very quickly as free agency opened. Mr. Rose, what do you think about these tampering allegations?
You know what, family? I don't like it. Jerry Tarkanian once said, when the NCAA gets mad at Kentucky, they put Cleveland State on probation. That's how I feel here. Now let me get this right. In this era where players have been MVP level players have left their teams and made super teams,
Facts.
that now all of a sudden You signing with a team that your father works for
Amen.
is tampering? Come on, man.
It just feels like jaywalking. It feels like jaywalking. It's like,
correct.
yeah, we should have the rule, but we shouldn't enforce it. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like.
I don't let the Knicks live. You know what I'm saying? Let Jalen Brunson live, man. And by the way, I was looking at them highlights. You know what I was thinking? Like, he should send the Phoenix Suns a gift. He should send them something because they got him paid. You see what I mean? Like, he put in work against them.
Utah,
and I'm really
too.
happy for him. And so it's one thing for you to change teams, basically, even though the money may be similar. And in the standings, the Mavs are clearly better than the Knicks. But what's going to happen with Jalen Brunson beyond who works in the front office? Shout to Rick Brunson, his father. Shout to my namesake putting in work. Scott Perry, my OG, who's going to be at the JRLA golf outing. Did you know William Wesley got the name worldwide from me? That's who. So I kind of know what's happening there. And let me just tell you this. I like your analogy about jaywalking. Let the Knicks live. We see they trying to get Donovan Mitchell. Hopefully that potentially happens. They're trying to grow something special. I don't like the tampering penalty if they get one.
We won't like it either, Nick Nation. Ridiculous. We're possibly going to lose a first rounder and a few second rounders for a quote unquote tampering. Guys, Nick Nation, I don't think this is going to happen. And Big Task asked, wasn't DeJounte Murray signed before free agency? I don't know the facts. I know he was being sought after, but he wasn't a free agent. That was a trade, Big Task. He was traded. So there was
Lonzo Ball was signed. The minute the clock hit, Lonzo Ball was signed, and that's why Chicago got hit last season with the whole tampering thing, and they only got hit with a second round pick, Zenray. So if you know Lonzo Ball, let's be realistic. The NBA considers Lonzo Ball more of a star player than Brunson, and Chicago is a big city and got hit with a second round draft pick penalty, and just because it's New York, we're gonna get hit with a first round pick. And you know, like Jalen Rose said, and I know me and you spoke about this as well. LeBron James teamed up with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kevin Garnett. You know, teamed up with Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. This has been done before. Players talk. Carmelo Anthony forced his way out of Denver and went on record saying he wants to play for New York. There was never no tampering. This is ridiculous. Like they said, good analogy, jaywalking. Just let New York live. Enough with the hate, guys.
I agree, Juby. Thank you. And Devontae Murray was a trade, wasn't a free agent signing. So Big Task, I hope we answered your question. With that said, I just want to put on a pickup game. Thank you, Big Task. I just want to put up a pickup game that Jalen Brunson was on, and he showed his true colors of what Jalen Brunson, how he's going to lead this team. It was just a pickup game. Just watch this.
JB behind the back, skip the lane by himself. Right. It's time for JB to wake back up. JB baseline, step back. JB mid-range. Off the screen. JB in and out cross. Split the defenders, laying up. Who magic on it? They leave you. JB for the tie.
Can't you just imagine that?
Nick Nation, I mean, look, it was just a pickup game. He was having a little fun out there, but we finally have a general to run this ship. We have other stuff going on that I don't know how true the source of this is, but I find this to be ridiculous as well, Nick Nation. The Knicks are reportedly willing to include Obi Topping in a Donovan Mitchell trade, but not Grimes. I find that pretty laughable. Whoever is just like taking trade and creating these trades, they throw against the wall to see it sticks. Look, this is such a lot of hogwash out there. Think about this. They want to include Obi Topping and not Grimes. Why would the Knicks offer a OB topping and just to keep Grimes. Nick Nation, give me your opinion. How bogus that is. Jay, the league should trend lightly when mad teams play, circumvent the salary cap game unethically at the time every year. Look, Shay, you make a good point. We need you to go into the NBA and create some kind of friction because, look, a lot of things are being done unethically. And it seems that the brunt of New York, they hate the media against New York, especially New York, because the media is the toughest place. Juby says it all the time. You have to be thick-skinned. If the players let all this information bother them, there's no way you're going to perform in New York. And that's why a lot of players in New York who have come here couldn't take the brunt of the news medias and also the reporters, just constant harassment. Or I wouldn't call it harassment, but badgering in terms of getting information. You have to just take it lightly. Thank you, Shay, for your input. Big task. Goodness, he looks like a
mutant.
Yes, he does look like a mutant. Big task. Thank you. Are we still talking about the Donovan Mitchell trade? This has begun for over 2 months now. Big task. I don't think this trade is going to happen. I think Danny Ainge and Leon Rose are at a stalemate. This is not going nowhere. Nick Nation, let's be prepared just to go in the season with Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Evan Fournier. We'll have Rose coming off the bench. And we'll show a little highlight of Rose here doing his thing. Is Rose going to be part of this Knicks unit, or are the Knicks going to come back and make this trade for Donovan? A lot of questions. I think we're all tired talking about this Donovan Mitchell stuff. A reason I bring it up because every day I'm seeing these news reports. Juby, give me your opinion. How true and factual of a lot of these things, or are people just creating this and just throwing this at the wall and trying to make it stick just for news and just to get Nick Nation unraveled?
Unfortunately, we're going to be going through this from now to training camp. It's not going to go away. It's not going to die down. I spoke about this in my house yesterday, Zenray. I wanted to say thank you for joining me yesterday on my live stream. But, again, today, me doing what I do and me researching and everything, another proposal was apparently, and I know you guys probably, for those of you who research like I do, saw that the Knicks and Jazz and Lakers spoke about a 3-team trade just a few weeks ago. And it's not from a bogus website because New York Post is reporting it. Yahoo Sports is reporting it. So I know sometimes we see these rumors, and Zenray likes to say that they're not credible. But I'm here to tell you, this is from New York Post. This is from Yahoo Sports. This was discussed.
Yeah.
So whether they stopped on it, where something stalled out, that's another discussion. But it seems that the Jazz would end up with Russell Westbrook, some draft compensation from New York and from LA. Knicks would get Donovan Mitchell, and the Lakers would get Patrick Beverley, Jordan Clarkson, Bogdanovic, or Malik Beasley, and are interested in Cam Reddish. Just like they were courting him at the end of last season, they are still highly, highly interested on Cam Reddish, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know how true. Look, a lot of this speculation, papers have to sell a lot of propaganda. You have to sell your newspapers. You have to sell your articles online. You want people to read your articles. I don't know how true they are, Juby. It's so many things I've been hearing. I would say like 3/4 of them are nonsense. If it's not coming from Ian Begley, it's not coming from Shams. I believe half these articles, but you may be right. Unless it's an inside source somewhere, I don't believe it. Big task. Thank you. Keith Turner, long time no see, my friend. How are you doing, Keith? Welcome. I appreciate you coming on. Well, Obi is a fair piece to start Utah's rebuild. You have to give them something because Danny could want both Grimes and Obi. Keith, this is the reason why this is taking longer. And I mentioned on Juby's show yesterday, basically, this is the reason why they haven't come together and finalized a trade. It's not actually the draft picks. The draft picks are set, basically. It's the wanting of like you mentioned, Obi, RJ, and Grimes. And people who have been commenting on my platform, I've been reading people saying that RJ Barrett is so false, but originally that's who they wanted. They wanted RJ. People came back, commented me toward on my platform as well, saying, why would they want RJ? He has to be signed. Like I mentioned in Juby's show, it's like real estate. You can flip real estate for a higher profit. You take Barrett into a deal. If Utah happen to attain him, you flip him for first round picks next year, or during the All-Star break, or if he does well during the season. So there's a lot of play going on here between Danny Ainge and Leon Rose. Keith Turner, I appreciate you. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, Keith Turner. I think the fact that they're going to get picks, I don't think Grimes, they're trying to hold that back. If I had to take, if anybody will leave in this trade, it'll probably be Grimes. Thank you, Keith. I think the trade will happen before training camp. It's going to happen. It's too much smoke around it. Plenty of smoke. We're all in the dark, Keith. We don't know what's coming and going.
I think it's a lot of pressure too. I think the media and for both teams, Utah and for New York, are so invested and have invested so much time and assets and advertisement, if you will, that I think management is going to sit there eventually. The stare contest is going to come to an end and say, let's come to a middle ground. Whether that takes time, it possibly can. You know, I was speaking with my brother, who's a longtime Knicks fan as well today. And, he happened to catch the show last night. And he was even telling me his opinion that he thinks this might go into the February, where the trading deadline comes to, and then depending on how Utah's doing, that's when Danny Ainge will probably pull the plug and say, let's do it. So don't be surprised if we might not even see a Donovan Mitchell trade happen. But I'm comfortable with it, guys. Like I said, Brunson and the team that we have ready to move forward. A lot of just like Nick Nation, it's either you make the trade or you don't make the trade. It's time to just get right to it.
I agree with Keith. There's a lot of smoke going around in these trades. I think everybody's in the dark right now. And I think a lot of news media and people in the press are just trying to throw things against the wall to see if it sticks and to see if it can sell papers, it can sell articles online and people read this. And it makes it fun because we're Knicks fans and we want to know what's going on. But at the end, we want the truth at the end. And the truth is so far in between that we can't tell what's real and what's not. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate you, sir. Kerry Cooper, salutes to you and your family. Thank you for coming on, Kerry Cooper. I appreciate you. Give me your opinion on the Jalen Brunson saga and the investigation. Give me your opinion on all this. Donovan Mitchell, if he's coming, not coming. A lot of Knicks Nation is tired of this. I think my thing is, I think before the season starts, I think we're going in with Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Fournier will be there. And I don't think Rose will be with that second unit. As far as anything happening, I don't see that Mitchell trade happening anytime soon. Thank you, Key. I appreciate you. Just give me your opinion when you get a chance. Shay, Leon's first pick was Obi. He's from New York. He's New York. No way he's trading, especially looking to dub Randall. Athleticism is bananas. Hey, Shay, if you watched me a few weeks back, I think me and Keith and Juby, we went at this back and forth. That's my same sentiment. That it's Leon Rose's first pick. He's not going to trade a guy with the talent he has in athleticism. I agree with you, Shay. Hooray to you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Keith Turner. There's not looking to trade Randall. He's just have too many connections with the organization. The only Randall leaves if he requests a trade. Well, he has no trade safety net. I mean, if he's traded, he's traded. He can't choose a team he's going to be traded to. If Donovan Mitchell comes here, Juby, give me your opinion on this. He's gone. I think he's going to the Lakers because Lakers' first preference is Kyrie Irving. I don't think that's going to happen. Their second option is to get Randall in Los Angeles.
And I think Julius wants out. Again, ladies and gentlemen, nothing confirmed. We just tell you what we hear, what we see, and what we just share with you guys. Apparently, Julius Randle has not been seeing eye to eye with Tom Thibodeau for a little while now. And if this Donovan Mitchell trade happens, he's going to want out because then he's going to realize that he's not the one nor the two that he's the third, and that's not gonna sit right with him. And he may want to go to LA, and LA will probably take him, and offer us something back in return, whether it's draft capital or what Russell Westbrook's contract expiration, just to make money work. But most definitely, if Donovan Mitchell's here, I wouldn't be surprised if Julius Randle gets traded, and especially to LA.
Yeah, Keith Turner makes a point. But remember, in that Dallas game versus Utah, Allen Houston, Worldwide West, and Julius Randle were at the game. So in terms of connections, Keith Turner makes a great point. He's well connected within the organization. Now, that's news to me that he doesn't see eye to eye with Tom Thibodeau. I don't know if that's another story created just to make a storyline out of this. Remember, Tibbs loves Randle. He gave him all this power on the court, didn't make him accountable at all. So Keith Turner makes a great point. Let's see what happens in this Julius Randle saga. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate you, brother. Kerry Cooper. The latest story I heard today is that what's holding up the trade is Utah wants Grimes. Leon is not willing to give him up.
I mentioned that in my show yesterday. Yeah.
Like I mentioned to Juby on his podcast yesterday, Kerry, if the Knicks don't get Donovan Mitchell because what's holding up the trade is Grimes, as much as I love Grimes, give me your opinion, Knicks Nation. You telling me Donovan Mitchell is not worth a Grimes? I have a problem with that. I think Knicks Nation will have a problem with that if we find out and it gets leaked that the Knicks turn their backs on a trade because Jazz wanted Quentin Grimes. I think that's a hard pill to swallow, Knicks Nation. If that story is true, wow. I still love Leon. Leon is playing a strong game of poker. He is playing chess. But let's see how this saga continues. Thank you, Kerry. Sean, how are you doing, sir? Welcome. Heard there might be tampering investigations into the Sixers over Morin, Harden, Tucker. Yeah. Look, there's a lot of things going on. I think, Dallas and these other teams, it's a hard pill to swallow when they don't attain their guy and they sign elsewhere. I'm not saying that Mark Cuban is doing this. Mark Cuban said it bluntly. He said he's not into that. He loved Jalen Brunson. He's going to let the NBA investigate his other teams involved. Sean, I don't know. I didn't hear about the 76ers case.
Yeah, with James Harden, I heard about that one. That they're investigating how James Harden forced his way to Philadelphia and the whole contract thing. So listen, it's going on a lot, like you said, Zenray. Teams get upset when they can't retain their players. They call it tampering. I don't think it's called tampering. Players see what teams are doing, the cultures they're building. Brunson, besides family ties with his dad and Worldwide West, watching him being born and everything like that. I mean, come on. The guy sees the culture. He sees what New York is about. He sees his opportunity to be the starting point guard here. It was a basketball best move for him to do. He saw an opportunity. He knew that in Dallas he would be number 2, number 3 guy because Luka's there. He has a chance to not even be the number 1. He doesn't have to be the 1, but he can be the man who actually just drives the car and doesn't have to, he can score. He doesn't have to score. I just think it was a better fit for him, and that's my opinion.
Find out. I really didn't hear about that. That trade was made by the Brooklyn Nets. How there was tampering there? That was a trade. This is not like it was a free agent pickup. So I have to read more into that. Thank you, Mr. Milliken. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Kerry Cooper. And Leon doesn't want to give up unprotected picks. I think from what I'm hearing reports, Kerry, the Knicks are willing to give up 4. That's the max they're willing to give up. I don't know if that's true. That's hearsay, obviously, like everything else we've been hearing. But Kerry Cooper, I think Grimes is holding up this deal. There should be an investigation within the Knicks organization. You're getting Donovan Mitchell and Quentin Grimes. Listen, I applaud. I play Leon Rose and their brass. I'm playing hardball with the Utah Jazz, but you have to make this trade if Grimes is one of the players they want. Now, if there's an OB or RJ Barrett, I can understand the deal not being made. But you're the second person I'm hearing now that Grimes is holding up this deal. Nick Nation, give me your opinion. Why is this deal being held up if it's true that Grimes is the initial base for this deal? Knicks, we have to make this trade, Nick Nation. We have to make this trade. If Grimes and 4 unprotected picks, Nick Nation, is involved and you throw some salary back in Fournier and Rose, Nick Nation, we have to make this deal. We have to make it. But I leave this on Leon Rose, his hands. Danny Ainge and Leon Rose, they're playing a hard game of chess. Kerry Cooper, I appreciate you, brother.
And Zenray, I still don't understand what the problem is with the draft picks. And Nick Nation, and I'm gonna say this: I've been going back and forth with Zenray on this the last 2 months. They want 6 draft picks, give them 6 draft picks. They want 7 draft picks, give them 7. If you get to keep Grimes or you get to keep Obi and have to give up 1, and you got to give up 6 unprotected draft picks, so what? You're getting a Donovan Mitchell. You guys act like we're gonna get a Donovan Mitchell or a LeBron James every draft that comes out. Players like this are dimes a dozen, guys. You never have back-to-back drafts where players are phenomenal coming out of there. Hard players like Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James happen every so often. And in my opinion, if that's what's holding, I hope Zenray is right. If it is Quentin Grimes, that's a little crazy. That should be an investigation. But if it's the draft picks, that should also be an investigation. And I'm willing to pay an Uber to drive down to Leon Rose and speak to him myself, because that's absurd. You need to give up those draft picks if we get to keep the young guys and make this happen.
Listen, I don't think, like I mentioned in your podcast yesterday, there's more to Grimes. I think they want a combination of Grimes and Obi, Grimes and Barrett in a trade. That's what's probably holding up. I don't think just the Grimes pick trade with the 4 unprotected is holding up the deal, because Leon Rose is a cookie. You get an opportunity to get a Donovan Mitchell, and if it's 4 unprotected picks and a Grimes, and just for salary situation, the money work with a Fournier and a Rose, Nick Nation, you have to make that trade. You have to make it. And that way we let this Donovan Mitchell saga just end, and we bring Donovan Mitchell to MSG. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate it. But Leon would be in just as much trouble if he comes out. He wouldn't trade Obi for a guaranteed All-Star. Leon doesn't say anything. He doesn't talk to the media at all. He's very shrewd. He chooses what to say, and he chooses to speak to MSG announcers because they're under the MSG payroll. So they know that these questions are docketed up, and they know what they can ask and what they can't ask. Leon Rose is not going to get in front of the media. He'll be crucified in terms of questioning him with so many things that they'll back him in the corner, and he has to answer it somehow, some way. So Keith Turner, great point at your end. Shay, but Keith, we don't know what we have with Leon Grimes. Are you sure they're not potential All-Stars? Not enough to sample size? That's a great point, Shay. That's a great point. We don't know. Look, I'll be happy, Nick Nation, if we went into the season with Jalen Brunson and with these groups of young kids and let them play. Listen, the value only is going to get better for the Knicks once Quentin Grimes comes off the bench and becomes your 6th man, exploding for 20 points off the bench, playing that 3-and-D. That's very, very special to see that Leon Rose and their brass created this youth and building this foundation for longevity. Let's not let Danny Ainge comes here and knock this house down that Leon Rose is building. Juby, give me opinion.
You know how I feel, Zenray. If Danny Ainge won 7 draft picks, I'm giving him 7 draft picks. I want Donovan Mitchell. I'm not giving up Obi and Quentin Grimes and 6 draft picks, or Obi or Grimes and RJ Barrett and 6 draft picks. That's absurd. I'm not doing that. But if you got to give up one of those guys, or a Quentin Grimes and 6-7 draft picks, I'm doing it. I'm sorry. These, like I said, that's just me. I know we've been going back and forth. I want to keep Obi. Obi is Amari Stoudemire 2.0. He's a hybrid of Amari. Grimes is a special player. I think he's going to be a solid player in the NBA. But again, Donovan Mitchell, not everybody is Donovan Mitchell. And I'm not just saying because it's Donovan. The guy's a talented player. He's a scoring machine. And when you can get somebody like that, and all you would have to give up is a Grimes and 6-7 draft picks and maybe Fournier, Rose to make contract works, pull that trigger. Because if you don't, this is going to be the discussion that we're going to be having on what could have been for a very, very long time.
Yeah, thank you, Shay. I appreciate you. Thank you. So if you came late, we did a little tribute to Patrick Ewing. Happy 60th birthday. Here we go. Patrick Ewing, we miss you. We dearly miss you, man.
Facts.
Happy birthday.
100%.
It's your birthday.
That's the picture I was talking about, man. You just felt him hugging you in that whole section.
It's your
that
birthday. Happy birthday.
Patrick.
It's a
Ewing.
great day. That's what we say. Happy birthday to you.
Patrick Ewing.
It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday.
Tucker.
Happy birthday.
Great lob by Tucker. And the game is
It's a
tied.
great day.
season.
That's what we say. Happy birthday to you.
Ewing jammed it over Jones and a timeout.
Happy birthday, my friend Patrick Ewing. Happy 60th birthday to those who missed our slight intro into the show. Patrick Ewing. How we missed a Patrick Ewing. How he was criticized for not taking the Knicks to the promised land. Well, he did take them to the promised land. We just didn't win the games. But listen, what a leader. What a warrior. We miss having a Patrick Ewing on the floor. Thank you,
I still
Patrick,
can't
for
believe
all the
he's not
memories.
working with us. I still can't believe Patrick is not working. Can you imagine if Patrick Ewing can give some insight to a Mitchell Robinson? Nick Nation, let me know. Do you think Ewing deserves to be in some kind of
Coaching capacity?
coaching capacity? I mean, John Starks is working with the Knicks, Allen Houston, Larry Johnson. We're going to leave Oakley out of this discussion, even though I think he deserves to be there. But, Patrick Ewing, 100% to work with the big man. Oh, my God. Look what he did for Yao Ming. I mean, when he was with the Rockets, Yao Ming developed a little bit of a different type of game because of him. But anyway,
Yeah, listen,
salute to Patrick Ewing.
Yes, salutes to you, Patrick Ewing. Happy birthday once again. I mean, when you watch that film, it just brings flashbacks of the 90s. Starks, Ewing, Oakley, Grandmama, Larry Johnson. Look, man, that's the kind of team that Leon Rose is trying to build the foundation. Back in the 90s, we were relevant in so many ways. Leon Rose is trying to do that right now. But if the Grimes deal, if this is being held up by Quentin Grimes, as reports are saying, which I think is false, fake news, as our past president mentioned, fake news. There's a lot of fake news, a lot of propaganda out there. But if it is being held by Quentin Grimes to get a Donovan Mitchell in here, come on, let's get this done. Keith Turner, chalk it up to the bad timing. The Knicks got to please expensive ticket holders. We're not developing the franchise. We can't build like OKC. I don't know if we can't build like OKC. I think Leon Rose is the right man for the job. See, New York, Keith Turner, like myself, yourself, and Juby, we're not very patient people. We want things yesterday. And if you give Leon Rose that opportunity, he will do it. But as you see, you have the media, you have people being critical toward the Knicks and their organization and what is World Wide West doing here? He hasn't done nothing when we arrived here. Look, we're building this one brick at a time, and it's taking longer than Knicks want. But if you can get a Donovan Mitchell here, it can enhance the process much faster. Doesn't guarantee us a championship. Doesn't even guarantee us an Eastern Conference chance to play in those games, to get to the finals. It just makes our team relevant once again. That's all Nick Nation is looking for, to be
I think,
relevant.
I think we'll be back in the playoffs then, Ray. I don't think we'll just win one game like we did against the Hawks.
Right.
I think like you said, we won't be championship contenders. We may not even be Eastern Conference.
You never know what happens. You may never know what happens in the playoffs. Look at the Bucks; they got in, and no one expected them to win a championship, and they did. Timing is everything, and So let's see what happens. Thank you, Keith. Kenneth Daniels, how can Leon get away with not inviting media to Brunson's production? This is not how you build relationships. I agree. I totally agree. But I don't blame him because the media in New York, they're pit bulls. They're pit bulls. And I don't think Leon Rose, the question is, can Leon Rose handle the media? There's a lot of unanswered questions, not only from the media, but from Nick Nation. What's your plan? What are you doing? What's the future? He doesn't really answer a lot of that. He hides behind MSG's commentators to create some kind of facet in terms of communicating with Nick Nation, but he doesn't dare to get in front of the media of the Post, the Daily News, the New York Times. He'll get, Juby, and give me your opinion on this, he'll get massacred.
I think, it's funny, and I was one of them, Nick Nation. I'm going to be honest with you guys. On draft night, Zenray remembers, I was ready to go for his head when he traded for, down and traded Duran to Detroit. Nobody knew what he was doing. The media was ready to just go at this guy. And then we come to find out that he was just getting all this draft capital to make a run and be in a discussion to obtain a Donovan Mitchell. And now we're sitting here saying that was a good job to what he did. Even though we could have got that kid Duran, who was a 7-foot player, and maybe who knows what could have become of him. But we got draft capital. He does moves for a reason. He does things for reasons. And I'm willing to give him a chance. Like I said, I haven't been giving them as much as a hard time as I've done in the past. Like you said, if Quentin Grimes is what's holding up this trade, that's absurd. And shame on them. If it's because they want Grimes, Obi, and like 7 draft picks, then I understand why the move hasn't happened yet.
But let me just thank you, Juby. Kenneth, I appreciate you. I think that sooner or later he has to face the fire. And I think eventually, if the Knicks don't develop or they don't make the playoffs again, he's going to have to show his face, because I don't think Tom Thibodeau lasts as coach, and his leash will get that much shorter in New York. Thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate you. Kerry Cooper, before we get with Johnny Bryant, I love Johnny Bryant as our next as coach here in New York. But let me talk about the man who I adore, who I love, and that's been in Knicks rumors to be traded. Now, remember, the 2022 Slam Dunk Contest winner, Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin, he has absolutely dominated and flourished.
Here's Obi Toppin, look out! Throws it up and Toppin with the one-handed slam. Toppin the roll. Style and then profoundly.
Done. The journey has just
mesmerizing,
begun.
intoxicating dunks tonight.
Nick Nation, you want to trade Obi Toppin? The journey has just begun for this young man. The 2022 Slam Dunk Contest winner. Juby, I know you were OB putting him in a trade at one time with Keith Turner, and Keith Turner at one point said that you need to trade Obi to get Donovan Mitchell here. I don't think so. I think what you see, what Leon Rose is trying to play here, but I do agree that if Grimes is the reason why this trade is not being done, which I don't believe, I think there's other factors to it. You have to pull the trigger, Juby. You have to pull the trigger. Gary Cooper, is Johnny Bryant a good coach for player development? I think he is. I think he's excellent, and I think if Thibodeau does another year like he had last year, I can see Johnny Bryant by the All-Star break coming in and taking over. Yeah, Johnny Bryant.
Mitchell loves him.
Oh, that's another thing. Donovan Mitchell comes here and wow, it's a match made in heaven, Kerry Cooper. It's a match made in heaven. Thank you, Kerry. I appreciate you. So, Juby, we talk about the slam dunk contest. We talked about the investigation. We spoke about Patrick Ewing's birthday. Anything out there that you're hearing? I think we were talking about before the Lakers and Knicks and Utah involved in the 3-team trade. I think if that happens, our players that we want to keep to build this foundation stays, and we have to just give up more draft capital. I think a Cam Reddish can go in that trade. I can see a Rose. I can see a Randall going in that trade as well. Wow, some food.
Look, this is ladies and gentlemen. This is why your boy can't be on a diet. Look, she's bringing me cake frosting.
Happy wife, happy life, man. Wow.
Happy birthday, Pat. I'm tasting that frosting for you.
Bring me some of that good stuff, Latino style. That looked like pig feet, man. Pass me some of that pig feet, man.
But yeah, listen, guys. Well, the problem is, and like I said, this is Zenray said it. It's just rumors. The Jazz feel that they've been lowballed. They feel that they have not been offered the best package yet that they want. Apparently, Leon Rose is only offering 4 unprotected draft picks, and Utah wants more than that. So that's where the Lakers come in. The Lakers are actually willing to get involved in a 3-team trade and offer like 3 draft picks of their own, which will bring like 7 draft picks coming back to Utah. No players, because the only player that they would bring back is Russell Westbrook, and they'll just buy his contract out because they've gone on record already and say if that was to happen, that they would just buy his contract out. And they'll get 7 to 8 unprotected draft picks, and that's what Danny Ainge wants. Of course, you'll have to throw in a Derrick Rose to make the money work, a possible Evan Fournier, but the Knicks will get Donovan Mitchell. Lakers will get Patrick Beverly, Clarkson, or Bogdanovic, or Beasley, or a Cam Reddish. Because, like I said, the Lakers are very, very interested in Cam Reddish. And not only is the Lakers, LeBron James, who's in contract negotiation extensions right now, wants players that he can win with. And right now, he doesn't know what he has. He definitely is not with wanting to run it back with Westbrook. Carmelo Anthony still doesn't know what he wants to do. He's sitting in the wind waiting to see what Donovan Mitchell is going to do, to see if he has a chance to come back here for one season. So, and LeBron wants Kyrie, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen because Brooklyn doesn't want to take back Westbrook's contract. They already said that they don't want that. So I think this is a good move. I think Utah, LA, and the Knicks need to get together and make some kind of 3 trade package, because not only will the Knicks be able to keep Obi and Grimes, and they're just basically giving up draft picks and a couple of players to and a Cam Reddish, if you will. And I'm perfectly fine with that.
I totally agree. Kerry Cooper also mentions, let's not forget Obi got cheated in 2001. Is that the slam dunk contest you're talking about in 2021? I don't know. Did he get cheated on that? I'm not sure. Elaborate more on that, Kerry Cooper. I think he did get cheated on, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't really follow the slam dunk contest. I just see the final evaluation of who wins, and I know Obi did well this year. I don't know about 2001, but thank you, Kerry. Kenneth, so how do you see the Obi and Randall minutes distribute this year? Obi only get minutes. Me and Juby spoke about this a couple of weeks back, and I'll tell you something. If Obi does not get the playing time he deserves, remember will be his last. The next year will be his last year on the contract with the Knicks. He will not sign with the Knicks. He will take free agent offers and sign with somebody else so he can spread his wings and play. That's a great question. I'm saying they have to find a way to either get rid of Randall in a trade to give Obi his time, or try to play him on the floor at the same time and play Randall live. That's going to affect the defense a lot. I don't think Tom Thibodeau wants to do that. That's a great question. How are you going to divide minutes You know that Randall's going to get 35 minimum 35 minutes. Where does that fit Obi? Maybe 20 minutes? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it.
You have to give Obi 25 plus.
Yes, I agree.
I think if you are able to give Alex Burke 40 plus minutes last season, you have to find a way to give Obi Toppin some minutes. Absolutely. There's just no way.
That makes a good point. You have Randall, the roadblock there. How are you going to justify? Randall's a hothead. Just imagine if you sit Randall down and you only give Randall 28, 30 minutes. That's not going to happen. He has a big contract on the team, and plus the guy's going to just going to destroy that bad apple. Is going to spoil the bunch. I tell you, the only way you get this resolved is either you trade Obi and get something of value for him, or you trade Randall. You can't have both. I say the Knicks are going to find a way in that package you just mentioned, Randall going in that deal somehow, some way. I don't see Randall. And if Donovan Mitchell comes here, bye-bye Randall. Obi is going to be the starting power forward for the New York Knicks. Thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate you. Kerry Cooper. I think that's why it's so hard to get rid of Randall. But Lakers are interested in him. As they said, Kyrie Irving was the number one option. Randall. Randall's money looks real good right now, especially all the money going up for the teams in the NBA. That contract looks pretty decent. And plus, the Knicks got a good deal on signing him. I think he's Laker bound. I'll be honest with you. I think this Donovan Mitchell trade is going to happen somehow, some way. And I think that Randall will be going to Los Angeles. That's my viewpoint. I don't know. I hope so, because Kenneth makes a good point. Obi has to get more than 20 minutes. How are you going to divide that? The roadblock is Julius Randle. You're not going to trade Obi. Obi is your future. So, and Randle right now, the way he reacted to New York last year, he already has a couple of strikes on him. So I see Obi Toppin starting at that 4. Thank you, Cooper, Kerry. I think that's why they're trying so hard to get rid of Randle. Okay, I think I'll put that double. But thank you, Kerry. So, Juby, your choice right now. Take a guess, and I don't want to hear educated guess right now. Just one-shot answer. Does Donovan Mitchell wear a Knicks uniform before the season starts? Yes or no?
Yes. Before the season starts, Donovan Mitchell will be wearing a Knicks jersey.
Nick Nation, give me your opinions in the comments. Will Donovan Mitchell be in a Knicks uniform before the season starts? I want to say this much. Look, the tampering spoke about is a bogus tampering charge against the Knicks. I think that's going nowhere. If the Knicks lose any draft picks for this, they should be the Knicks fans should kind of protest on this. There's no way that I'm reading the Knicks may lose number 1 pick and number 2 picks on this tampering. I think this is going nowhere. This is just hot air. Juby, if you had to take a guess, would the Knicks lose draft picks on this tampering charge?
I think they probably will, and I think it should be just a second-round draft pick. I don't think it should be no first round. And just because the way Chicago's and Miami's interrogation went down last season, they both got hit with 1 second-round draft pick, and I think that's fair. If you want to sit there and come at us because our family ties are strong and because his dad works in the organization, second-round pick I think is fair. Now, when you start going for first-round picks, that's just ridiculous, and they're only doing that because it's New York.
Yes, and I want to find out whose idea was it? Allen Houston, Julius Randle,
the game,
and Worldwide West going to the game. Whose bright idea was that? Especially knowing that his father was going to be hired in the organization, and knowing that we're after Jalen Brunson. That's tampering written all over it. Obviously, there's something there. I don't know if the Knicks will be accused. If I had to take a guess, I think they'll sweep this underneath the rug, and the Knicks will move forward from this allegation. Nick, give me your opinion. Thank you, Kerry. I appreciate you. Kenneth, the Knicks also have a problem with IQ. If the roster doesn't change, play Brunson IQ. Well, we mentioned that to make the contracts work and to get Donovan Mitchell here, Rose will be including that deal with Fournier somehow, some way. And Fournier will probably, with the end, Grimes will move up in the slot. And that's the reason I think they don't want to give up Grimes. I think Grimes, you can just put him right in that 3, and Fournier will be gone in that trade, definitely. And how many minutes distributed amongst the 5 guards? Wow. So I'm saying Fournier won't be there. I'm saying Rose won't be there. You can distribute it pretty well. I mean, you have Donovan and Brunson at the floor at the same time. IQ will be the backups there with also Deuce McBride. So you can distribute that very well. It's addition by subtraction, obviously. The key is getting Donovan Mitchell here, moving those contracts to make the money work. So I think that'll resolve that problem. And I think Deuce McBride will be the benefactor here because he'll get a lot more playing time than he did last year. Thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate you, brother. Kerry Cooper, I think by September, Donovan Mitchell will be a Knick. Yes, I think so, sir. I think so. Thank you, Kerry. Samuel Cortez, welcome, my friend. Welcome. I believe Donovan Mitchell will be a New York Knick. Yeah, we believe so, too. I believe so, too. I think before training camp, I think, the Heat is going to get underneath Danny Ainge's collar. He's going to pull off something. And if it's a 3-team trade, better. We'll save a lot of our main assets, and we'll probably ship a few players out to LA in the trade. Thank you, Samuel. Saludos, my friends. Gracias, Samuel. Thank you. So, Juby the Tubi. Before we go on, we leave this. I just believe in the positive nature of how life goes, like never giving up in certain things in life. And Knick Nation, I believe that as well. I believe that if you look at the Tesla owner here.
You think I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up.
That's the key, Knick Nation. It's to never give up. And I say this now, Juby. I want to thank you, Juby. I want to thank everyone who came on. Samuel, Kerry, Kenneth, Kerry Cooper, fantastic. We missed you. Keith Turner, thanks for coming back on again. Shay, great stuff as always. Milligan, Mr. Milligan, thank you, sir. Shay, Turner, big task. I appreciate you, Kevin, Aaron. I appreciate you guys coming on. And, of course, Juby the Tubi will be on your platform sometime next week. I appreciate everyone. And I just want to end the show one more time and wishing the king once of New York, Patrick Ewing. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, and thank you for the memories.
It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's a great day.
Memory lane.
That's what we say. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Great lob by Tucker. And the game is
It's a
tied.
great day. That's what we say. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Jammed it over.
Happy birthday. Juby, thank you. I appreciate you, my friend. And we'll see you next week on your platform. Thank you. Never give up. Never give up. Knowing that the best is yet to come. With love, peace, and gratitude. Zen Ray out, Juby. Thank you.
Good night,
And
guys.
we'll see you next week. Zen Ray out.
Never give up. Never give up. knowing that the best is yet to come with love, peace, and gratitude.